So, as any viewer of this channel is aware, I am a massive fan of the Wii and its various innovative masterpieces. A cursory glance at some of my work here will tell you that much. I hold the somewhat unpopular opinion that the Wii is Nintendo at the peak of their power, although the Nintendo Switch may indeed be coming for that crown. I'll not go into detail, there's more important things to discuss today, but the reasons I believe this are detailed throughout my video doc on the history of and my nostalgia with the Wii. I do indeed plan on elaborating further in future docs or essays, as I have plenty more to say about the most underrated home console, home to the most underrated of games. One such essay being this currently unlisted video I made in the past about Wii Sports. It's unlisted because I'm redoing it. I recorded the voice on a Huawei Wi-Fi 2 and edited it on an Intel Pentium laptop, so yeah, I mean, enough said. However, if you've seen my previous video, you'll know that there is no series for which I have more nostalgia for than the Wii/Me series. Wii Sports is remarkable. Wii Party is far better than any other party game. Tomodachi Life, while a product of its time, is nonetheless exceptional. So as you can imagine, I was over the moon when Wii Sports was announced to be getting a brand new sequel in Nintendo Switch Sports. Though Nintendo seem to be pretending that this is the first sequel to Wii Sports, and it's fine that they're retconning Wii Sports Club. I have a lot of things to say about Wii Sports Club, but Wii Sports Resort was like the greatest thing of all time. I was delighted when it was announced that Switch Sports was getting an online beta where we could test it out before launch, and online beta that just concluded. No, yeah. No, I was really happy to hear about that. Yeah, the online beta. Really cool of them. Pretty cool of them to just let people test it out like that, honestly. However, much like how saying the Lord's name in vain reserves for the speaker a special place in hell, no one can speak about the Switch Sports online beta on the internet. Yeah. Swiftly changing topic on a completely unrelated note, last night I had this wildly vivid dream, like really vivid, probably because I, as I am wont to do, was taking on Matt one last time before going to sleep. Helps get the melatonin flowing, you know? Regardless, I had this wildly vivid dream that I was playing Switch Sports. So in this video, I will be talking about that dream I had and what I thought about the dream, which is not the online beta. I'm going to be using Wii Sports gameplay to visualize what I'm talking about because I can't share footage from this dream for obvious reasons. To reiterate, this video is not about the online play test beta. Cool? Cool. And well, if this dream I had is anything like the final product, sweet Jesus Christ, we are in for one hell of a time. No, Pastor, I was joking. I can, will, and have filled pages of script with analysis on why Wii Sports is so excellent and why it's been so successful, because it isn't just that it was a pack-in. Pack-ins have existed for every console, but no pack-in has bred as much nostalgia as Wii Sports has. However, for context, I will give you the Cliff Notes version of my Wii Sports analysis. Wii Sports is an excellent immersive sports experience for sure, and I love it for that. But what makes Wii Sports and its sequel Resort so special is the atmosphere, especially so for Resort. In bowling in both, there are other folk playing on the other lanes, for example. In each minigame in Wii Sports Original, you play against a lot of the same Miis that are present in the other minigames. Matt, for example, is the trainer for boxing and the Grandmaster in boxing, but sweet Jesus, is he a dreadful tennis player.
Okay.
Like, come the f*** on, Matt. You can do better than that. Your own Miis from your own Mii channel adorn the stadiums they watch on from the distance. Everything is consistent. Everything feels tangible. In Resort, this is taken to another level. The Pilot Wings minigame fills pages upon pages of material in regards to world building, but needless to say, being given the ability to fly around the island where everything takes place was genius. You can see the basketball courts, the empty tennis courts, the canoe area, the cycling course. Hell, that island in the distance, that's the golf course. And you can actually go there. Secondly, sports is in essence about competing to win for sure, but what gives sport this omnipresence in society is that despite how far we go to win, in the end of the day, Fundamentally, we all just want to have fun. Unfortunately, real-life sports sometimes misses out on this part. You have no right to call social media toxic until you frequent football Twitter on Premier League game day. Real-life sport has become less about wanting one's own team to win and about wanting your rivals to lose. And I'm not going to act holier than thou. I cheer to the heavens whenever any of Arsenal's rivals lose, and for any Premier League fans watching, you'll know why I cheer to the heavens when Watford ended Liverpool's unbeaten record not so long ago. A real-life sport is toxic, plain and simple. For anyone interested, and for those not faint of heart, search up England versus Bulgaria in the football of 2019 for an example of what I'm talking about. Sport has become tribalistic and, frankly, disgusting at times. Wii Sports is what sports should be. Joyful, freeing, fun. Not only is the Wii Sports setting real, tangible, full of people you know, but it is full of people you like. You hardly fill your Me channel with people you hate. Everyone in Wii Sports is there to have a good time. Everyone smells. This is a computer science class, sir. Everyone smiles and laughs, and while it may sound silly, it's true. Watching people have a good time makes you have a good time. It's where so many sitcoms and rom-coms find success. Again, I go into more depth in my dedicated half-hour-long Wii Sports tribute or retrospective, but in brief, Wii Sports is a tangible, real place. But it isn't just real. The Last of Us, for example, creates a real, tangible place. The difference is that nobody wants to go to the world of The Last of Us. Wii Sports is the distillation of the childhood summer fantasy, a place everyone wants to go. It is pure, unadulterated joy captured in a bottle and remodeled into an island you can visit whenever you want. That is the magic of Wii Sports, the atmosphere. My biggest question about Nintendo Switch Sports is, can it maintain that atmosphere? Can it create an atmosphere that is equal in quality? Unfortunately, I can't say because the game is not out, but in that dream I had last night, yes, that atmosphere was more than maintained. Switch Sports is set in Spocko Square as distinct from Woohoo Island. Coincidentally, in my dream, the game I dreamt about was also set in Spocko Square. Wild. In this dream version of Spocko Square, which if I can just say here, that is a magnificent name. Woo Island with a W for Wii, as distinct from Spocko Square with an S for Switch. Characters do more than just spectate or walk around. They drink coffee, they chat, they look at art and background art galleries, they sit on chairs, lean on handrails and eat ice cream. Andre Segers from Game Explain pointed out in his trailer analysis of the actual game that in the Switch Sports game, characters snap photos of what's going on from their phones. You don't need to take my word for it. The trailer for Nintendo Switch Sports shows ice cream parlors, coffee shops and art galleries. Judging from this image of the world map, this is a detailed place, just like Woohoo Island was, just like I know Spocko Square will be. In my vision, the characters would cheer you on when you scored, look up from their phones or conversations to clap. They weren't blank or expressionless, they were fully realised character designs. I can't say for sure whether the atmosphere in the real life game Spocko Square will match the lifelike summertime in a bottle Woohoo Island, but I'm very, very optimistic based on my experience with the trailers and my own strangely vivid dream, which to reiterate was not the online playtest. In pausing my critique of said dream, I do think there will be a Pilot Wings equivalent here. There's no way Nintendo will have put as much detail as they have into this world and not let the player explore each nook and cranny. Like previously mentioned, Spocko Square is a modern day Woohoo Island. It's a hipster's paradise. As such, I can't imagine you flying around this urban sportstopia. However, if you look at this overhead world map, it looks tailor-made for a skateboarding minigame. What with the resurgence of Tony Hawk, the popularity of Ollie Ollie and Skate getting rebooted, I can absolutely see Nintendo capitalizing. Not just that, it will be tonally congruent. Genuinely, after watching the trailer countless times, and after that very realistic but nonetheless not real dream, I am more excited than ever for Nintendo Switch Sports. The world feel and charm are what makes Wii Sports so special, and Switch Sports knows. This is so remarkable because of what came just before Nintendo Switch Sports. Wii Sports Club is not very good because it completely lacks any personality, charm or atmosphere. It's really funny actually, because in essence, Wii Sports Original is literally a tech demo. It initially just started off as a tennis minigame to show the Nintendo of America executives the potential the Wii Remote had, and they just kind of made a whole game around it because they had fun with it. Again, more details in the history of the Wii dock linked in the description. But Wii Sports Original doesn't feel like a tech demo. Wii Sports Club is not a tech demo. It's a game. It was an expansion. It was, at heart, a new game. But in the series history, never has there been more tech demo-y a game than the one game that wasn't actually a tech demo. Nintendo Switch Sports retcons that stain in the legacy of the series, and if what I believe to be true is true, if what I have envisioned comes to pass, I think Switch Sports might even surpass Resort, which is a very, very tall order. This is a declaration I do not make lightly. Resort is genuinely one of my favorite games of all time for its sheer atmospheric, joyous, whimsical strength and a decent heaping of nostalgia. But Wii Sports Club is Irony the video game. Like previously mentioned, it was the first non-tech demo to end up feeling like a tech demo. To add to that, it had by far the most gameplay potential. Wii Motion Plus had been refined and adopted by Nintendo's most seasoned developers and had been implemented into every new Wii remote out of the box. The gamepad, for as much fun as been made out of it, is pretty remarkable technology for the time. Gyroscopes, touchscreens, video cams, competent control sticks and buttons on top of all of that. Pro controllers, nunchucks, classic controllers. There were a breadth of options in the Wii U ecosystem for the developers to take advantage of. Adding to that, Wii Sports Original came out in 2006. Wii Sports Club came out in 2013. That is 7 years worth of experience with motion controls. And yet, Wii Sports Club is the worst in the series when it comes to actual gameplay. Many say it is just a reskin of Wii Sports, but it isn't. It is a downgrade in every single way, except for the graphics. But if you use an AV to HDMI converter, there honestly isn't much of a difference, as you can see on screen. Again, I hate to keep saying this, but I have plans to talk about Club in detail, and I don't want to bloat the runtime here, but the controls were unintuitive. The physics were too weighty. Everything felt slow and lifeless. In this dream version of Nintendo Switch Sports that I experienced, it seems they learned from Club's failure. Everything is fast, responsive, snappy. Admittedly, the Joy-Con is not as competent as a Wii Motion Plus motion controller due to its lack of a sensor bar, but to any untrained eye watching from afar, I don't think the difference is noticeable. In said dream, the bowling was vastly improved from Clubhouse. Bowling in Clubhouse wasn't bad, but it was a downgrade from Wii Sports for sure. I never felt I could get consistent spins or curves on the ball. I never truly felt in control. Bowling in this vision I had felt like coming home. This is what Sports Club should have been. An actual sequel. Tennis makes its grand return. It felt fast, purposeful, energetic, better than ever. The masterful sound design carried over, with each thud feeling satisfying. The pitter-patter of the feet crossing the court, the cheering at a point scored, the whoosh of wind when swinging the racket. Everything was just on point. This is the best incarnation of Wii Sports Tennis. Mario Tennis Aces is one of the most underrated video games of all time. It's an excellent competitive multiplayer experience, and it includes a motion-controlled mode. Switch Sports makes that motion control mode, frankly, look like dog shit. And that's a dedicated tennis experience, and the best one I have ever played at that. While admittedly the button controls are the main way to play the game and the motion control is just an add-on, it is a testament to the strength of Switch Sports Tennis. Its motion control mode is so much better than Mario Tennis's motion control mode. The only other minigame I tried, or rather experienced in this dream of mine, was sword fighting, sword play, sword combat. I'm gonna get some flack for this. It is borderline sacrilegious, but I'm actually not the biggest fan of the sword combat in Wii Sports Resort. I loved boxing in the original. It genuinely felt tactical. There was a skill ceiling. A sword combat embodies what people think the Wii is. Waggle. In my not real vision of Switch Sports, the soul of that sword combat is maintained, while vastly improving everything about it. Sword combat's inherent advantage is that the sheer fantasy of a battle to the death dwarfs the fantasy of bowling a strike every day of the week. That fantasy is built upon by the fact that it no longer feels like a waggle fest, a competition of who can swing faster and more frequently. This feels tactical, There's a power bar to build, dual swords to wield in different weapon types. Guarding has been massively refined. Little visual touches like outlines on a sword that's guarding and blue entrails only add to the experience. Unfortunately, I can't review the minigame in detail because I simply did not have enough time. But what I can say is that in that dream, I had more fun with the sword combat than I ever had in Resort. There was a tactical depth, for one, an absolute visual feast on show, and the fantasy was more than maintained. For sure, Switch Sports will never be an esport, but like previously mentioned, I don't want an esports experience. What I'm looking for in a Wii Sports sequel is the distillation of what sports should be. Its atmosphere, a relaxed, cozy vibe, gameplay that feels kinetically satisfying while having a degree of tactical depth. Wii Sports achieved that. Resort achieved that. Club failed remarkably, but based on my ridiculously comically vivid dream, I think Switch Sports, and I don't say this lightly, I think Switch Sports does it best. This is the safest pre-order of 2022 based on a dream that isn't the online playtest beta. Everything seems to have a weight, a kinetic satisfaction, but it doesn't seem to be turgid. Is it turgid or turgid? How have I never heard this word been said? But it doesn't seem to be turgid, slow, or heavy. The atmosphere seems to be remarkably constructed with an attention to detail that is second to none. An attention to detail that is quintessentially Nintendo. And perhaps that sums up my thoughts on Wii Sports Resort, and potentially Switch Sports. Everything Nintendo was, and everything they should be. Quintessentially Nintendo. And frankly, I don't trust anyone whose most anticipated game is Elden Ring.